2019 Ford Mustang Review. The good points of Ford Mustang: decent, affordable, straight line performance, Americana image, V8's muscle. The bad points of Ford Mustang: feels bulky on UK roads, handling lacks finesse, patchy interior quality, V8's thirst. It's rare the name of the car transcends beyond automotive enthusiasts into popular culture. Nevertheless, the Ford Mustang is but one such vehicle. You can thank decades of cameos in Hollywood films with the somewhat ironic then that it's taken Ford 50 years since original Mustang made its stateside debut to create a serious effort to import them here, along with right-hand drive. Yes, there are many older Mustangs out watching inside UK, most them privately imported, although Ford a half-hearted official channel within the late 1970s and early 1980s. This time it's the real deal. Ford sells the Mustang by 50% guises, the Fastback, watch coupe, reviewed here, and also a convertible. Mustangs are physically large compared to their European and Japanese rivals such as Audi A5 Coupe, BMW 4 Series Coupe, Infiniti Q60, Lexus RC and Mercedes-Benz C-Class Coupe. Even so, the packaging is poor, creating a cramped cabin plus a not especially commodious boot. But to check it directly with those models seems slightly unfair, because the Mustang attracts a different type of car buyer. It's an entertaining, light-hearted and characterful car, meaning vehicles such as BMW M2, Mercedes AMG A45 and Audi RS3 Sportback will come within to the equation. American image, engineered for Europe. Mustangs coming here feature some European-specific engineering modifications to ensure they are go, stop and turn superior to their predecessors. America receives a wider selection of power plants, but here there's just two of engines to pick from. The two main 3-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged EcoBoost with 317 horsepower, into 290 horsepower through the 2018 Facelift, just like the unit designed for the Focus RS, as well as a 5.0-liter V8 with 416 horsepower, uprated to 450 horsepower in 2018, on tap. Clearly the previous is the more cost-effective of the pairing, with promised economy nudging 35.3 miles per gallon and CO2 emissions unacceptable to 179 grams/km. But who buys a muscle car for economy and efficiency? Turns out few people, using the around two-thirds of Mustangs ordered using the larger engine. In performance terms, the two main 3 EcoBoost manages the 0 to 62 miles per hour sprint in 5.8 seconds. Its brawnier sibling in 4.8. A 6-speed manual gearbox that has a meaty throw, may be their more popular transmission, even though the 6-speed auto feels aligned with all the car's American ethos. Ford Mustang Fastback, 2018 Facelift. Ford updated the Mustang in 2018, however, you wouldn't necessarily notice on first inspection. There's a whole new front bumper, a bonnet featuring some menacing-looking vents and new LED headlights. Keener spotters will likely notice the shape with the front wings and rear light graphics also have subtly altered. However, it's beneath the skin the spot that the bigger changes have already been applied. In addition, for the power output revisions, a 10-speed automatic gearbox replaces the previous 6-speed transmission, and you will now specify some highly impressive optional magnetic adaptive suspension. This also permits 2 new drive modes, drag, which softens the spine suspension to the best possible launch, and my mode, that enables the driver to configure a setup for that car with regards to own requirements. Normal, sport, track and snow, wet modes stay the same. Ford has additionally used the facelift because opportunity to install driver assistance technology, the Mustang now featuring active lane departure assist together with adaptive cruise control and pre-collision benefit pedestrian detection. Inside, a 12-inch LCD instrument display sits behind the leader and can change its color theme depending on the drive mode you end up picking. If you're worried that it's still not affordable to run, Ford has announced a hybrid version from the Mustang is going to be introduced in 2020. Small selection of Mustangs available. It's very un-Ford-like. However, the Mustang Fastback is available in just 2 regular trim levels, and every is specific to your engine. Both provide a high amount of kit, though, so no matter what Mustang you choose to buy, you'll enjoy 19-inch alloy wheels, automatic xenon headlamps, dual-zone climate control and Ford's Sync 3 multimedia system with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. The Sooner Sync 2 system was fitted until 2016. For those planning to behave like a hooligan, the V8 will be the only choice, though. Here you'll uncover the line lock and launch control systems which allow you to perform burnouts effortlessly and accelerate without delay from a standstill. Each one incorporates selectable driving modes, a finite slip differential as well as a selectable effort power steering system that varies the weighting but doesn't improve the feel over the wheel. Limited edition Mustang Bullitt a moment sellout. Just 350 examples on the Mustang Bullitt were allocated on the UK. Each was pre-sold. It was price index in autumn 2018. Launched to celebrate the 50th anniversary with the film Bullitt, which has a 1969 Mustang GT 350. The special has had a good makeover so it resembles the style from the movie car, including dark green paint, badged bodywork, gloss black alloy wheels and other chrome detailing. Not it is noticeable in the actual way it drives. Nevertheless, the Bullitt also benefits from the 9 horsepower power increase looking at the 5.0-litre V8 engine courtesy of any revised air intake along with other minor mechanical enhancements. It certainly sounds throatier than other V8 Mustangs. Performance. Only a set of powerful petrols to be had. 2.3 EcoBoost shed while using Focus RS. If you really can afford to fuel it, go to the V8. It doesn't really matter which model you purchase, the performance served up from the Ford Mustang Fastback is impressive whether or not you choose each 3-litre 4-cylinder EcoBoost engine or 5.0-litre V8. Each European Mustang comes that has a standard performance pack with uprated brakes, 4-piston calipers up front, along with a revised cooling system developed for very fast driving. You'll also find onboard selectable driving modes comprising of normal, sport, automatics only, sport plus, track and snow, wet settings. Track apps, controlled from your steering wheel and displayed relating to the main instruments, have an accelerometer, timer as well as a braking performance monitor. Ford Mustang 2.3-litre EcoBoost performance. A version on this 4-cylinder engine appears within the riotous Ford Focus RS, and here develops a substantial 317 horsepower and 434 Nm of torque. Impressive figures, written at least, while using peak power figure produced at 5,500 revolutions per minute as well as the torque at only 3,000 revolutions per minute. It results in relatively lazy performance, as well as the manual gearbox 2.3-litre Mustang can accelerate from 0 to 62 miles per hour in 5.8 seconds and so on to a high speed of 145 miles per hour. The automatic reaches precisely the same limit, but Ford doesn't quite a 0 to 62 miles per hour time correctly. It doesn't particularly relish being revved though, without having change in its general lethargy when you near the red line, nor perhaps there is much oral or physical reward for working that it is hard. And there's no getting away from your 4-cylinder soundtrack. The Fastback's noise-cancelling technology ceases to overlay the motor's rasp and turbocharged intake whistle via its synthesized system. Curiously, it sounds a lot more appealing inside the Focus RS. Braunia 5.0-litre V8. Naturally, the V8's faster than its 4-cylinder sibling as a result of its 416 horsepower developed at 6,500 revolutions per minute and peak torque of 524 Nm at 4,250 revolutions per minute. Those figures don't tell the genuine story though, as wherever you are inside rev range there's ample urgency on demand and also the V8 feels perfectly flexible in way of life. Both manual and automatic V8s can reach a high speed of 155 miles per hour, but while, again, Ford doesn't quite a 0 to 62 miles per hour time with the self-shifter, The manual dispatches the benchmark sprint test in 4.6 seconds, plus it sounds great while it's performing it. It's don't assume all rosy within the V8 garden, though. Truth is the fact that bumbling around at urban speeds, the 5.0-litre lump doesn't sound especially captivating. That familiar rumble's there, but it really is inside the background, muted unless you rev the engine higher, then at the very least your ears aren't disappointed. It doesn't possess the metallic, hard-edged back note within something like a Mercedes-AMG C63, nevertheless the thunder from your exhaust pipes is obviously very muscle car. Pity it can't be described as a bit louder all from the time. Those Mustang V8 party pieces. There are a handful of tricks the V8 sleeve which the 2.3-litre Mustang's not aware about, the line lock and launch control systems. The former is made for warming your tires, pre-launch, and it is derived from an aftermarket kit often seen on American drag races. Find a wonderfully flat section of private ground, the authorities go on and in view of the on public highways, activate line lock through the controls buttons, pressurize the brakes to lock leading wheels solid for 15 seconds, engage a forward gear and stamp for the throttle. The result? You'll perform the smokiest burnout you'll ever see, torturing your rear tires from the process. Release the computer and you'll roll forward still smoking your rear rubber. Essentially pointless for normal road driving, but gloriously cool for that reason. Launch control is a bit more familiar, helping you to pre-select a holding spot from the rev range from 3,000 and 4,500 revolutions per minute before you decide to dump the clutch in first gear and accelerate off to your horizon, leaving a trail of tire marks behind you because your tires spin over the tarmac. It's pure hooliganism, and although most Mustang people are unlikely to locate it genuinely useful, it's fun nonetheless. At least unless you need to pay for a whole new set of rear tires. Manual and automatic gearboxes. At launch, both gearboxes were 6-speed, and people who want to get more engrossed from the Mustang experience were prone to favor the manual. It has a pleasant enough, if weighty, shift that fits the car. It's not probably the most precise gate though, plus it's not much of a gearbox that loves to be hurried. The automatic's more of the mixed bag. During gentle driving it's perfectly skilled at slipping effortless between ratios, but press on and it also can't make its mind up, often electing to downchange mid-corner and delivering an increase of torque towards the rear wheels just once you don't need it. At least you'll be able to counter this using the steering wheel paddles. More power and 10-speed automatic gearbox on 2018 Facelift. When the Mustang was updated in 2018, the V8 got an electricity hike to 450 horsepower, or 459 horsepower within the case with the Bullet Special, with 529 Newton-meters of torque along with the new 10-speed automatic gearbox was introduced. The former combined while using latter tends to make a 0 to 62 miles per hour sprint in 4.3 seconds. With the manual gearbox, a similar dash takes 4.6 seconds. At exactly the same time Ford slightly reduced the 2.3-litre EcoBoost's output with a still lusty 290 horsepower. The V8's hike in performance has experienced a positive effect for the noise the Mustang makes, too. Its exhaust sounds more aggressive previously, which can be presumably why Ford's engineers have produced Quiet Neighbor mode that quietens things down for morning starts. We found the 10-speed gearbox to certainly be a big improvement on that old 6-speed. It's far quicker to alter gears, yet doesn't seem as overactive since you may expect when driven enthusiastically. In normal drive mode it's an even and hassle-free experience, while selecting Sport livens the entire experience, program lightning quick shifts. It's at its best aided by the paddles around the back with the steering wheel, though perform wish these felt of your better quality. Ford has added a rev-matching function towards the 6-speed manual gearbox too, which automatically blips the throttle on down changes to check the engine's speed while using wheels, keeping your vehicle stable under braking. The cars we drove around the launch event in France didn't have this installed, though, so we'll should wait to test it from the UK to determine what it's like. Handling. Mustang has surprisingly agility. Magnetic suspension on post-facelift cars a necessity. You're never unaware of its girth. Whichever Ford Mustang Fastback you decide on, it'll weigh in at exceeding 1,600 kilograms, and there's without doubt in your mind as soon when you move off this car is something of an heavyweight, it is possible to feel it inside meaty controls. On tighter British roads there's no escaping this car's girth either, plus it always seems like a large car. It is about a similar size within the road as a considerable European executive saloon. But, unlike previous generations from the Mustang which are essentially built to solely serve North American audiences, this car isn't simply produced for straight line speed, it corners greater than you'd expect to. There's many drive modes out there, and what Ford calls a selectable effort electric power steering system, this enables you to alter the weighting from comfort through normal and into sport. The latter simply adds weight, the previous makes it too light and, although not perfect, the middle ground normal may be the most pleasing on the lot. There's certainly a quarrel to suggest the auto doesn't need the computer at all, but we suspect that wouldn't please the marketing department. Not one of the most engaging of sports cars. It takes longer to feel confident pressing on through corners from the Mustang laptop or computer does in say a 4 Series or C-Class coupe. You know the grip's there. However, the rear end is susceptible to twitching mid-corner if you're not smooth along with your throttle application. Even so, the Mustang feels softer and wallowier than its Germanic rivals, hence the communication between tires and driver is fuzzier and fewer engaging. Once you've taken command of the and learned to own more faith within the Ford's agility, it will become more fun, albeit in the unconventional sense. With that high bonnet line plus the Fastback's width, it could feel that you're hauling a low-slung SUV by way of a series of corners. Both engine options come together with the same suspension system, though the V8 features the superior monotube dampers to get a faster response. In comparison, the EcoBoost engine Mustang can feel as if it's struggling for composure on undulating B-roads. All come having a standard limited slip differential, LSD, so people who want to play at hooliganism about the racetrack can slide a corner end with the Mustang thus to their heart's content. For those less clear on their abilities, a 3-stage electronic stability control, escape, enable you to rein things in. Ford Mustang 2018 on handling. We were amazed at the improvement we felt when first sampling the post-facelift 2018 Ford Mustang's handling. There are a few advantages for this. The cars we drove were on 1,600 pounds magnetic suspension, plus the wheels were shod in sticky Michelin Pilot Sport 4 tires. These two features equate to your far better drive. We found the weighty Mustang cornered far flatter. Our body's control is vastly improved as the suspension has the ability to adapt 1,000 times per second to absorb bumps almost instantaneously. It really is an amazing setup, along with our mine worth every bit in the premium. The tires play a part too, because practically they make for fantastic grip, from the dry, no less than. We've not tried them inside the wet, but we noticed extra feel through the controls, meaning extra driver confidence, plus a more progressive body reaction on initial turn-in. We suspect that last is as the sidewalls flex somewhat less compared to the piley rubber on pre-facelift cars. And the opposite advantage with this suspension is it's adaptive, meaning Ford's chassis engineers are actually able to configure drive modes geared for comfort or sportier driving. There's even one for drag racing, which softens at a corner to allow the auto to squat in the back wheels for better traction. Quite the amount of people will use this about the road from the UK remains in sight, but it really would be an extraordinary way to pull off from your toll booth around the M25. Behind the wheel. Familiar Mustang styling cues inside, too. Sensible layout with the majority of controls. Pity that higher grade plastics aren't used. Once you've slipped into the Ford Mustang Fastback's driver's seat, you're immediately shown an ensemble of American muscle car hallmarks, the high-set dashboard, the wide transmission tunnel and also the detailing that's somewhat clumsy. But despite that last point it boasts a genuine, typically Ford, blue-collar charm, a similar appeal that permeates from the driving experience and enables you to appreciate this car for the purpose it is. It's definitely not expensive feeling or luxurious, and others on a hunt for squidgy soft touch plastics will need to search elsewhere. In fact, you're more very likely to encounter scratchy, hard moldings first. The center console could be the least pleasing aspect in the Mustang's cozy interior, that has a mixture of materials that don't sit particularly well together. Knurled faux metal for that climate control knobs, an up-to-date touch screen for your multimedia system, however more plastometal for that toggle switches. It all looks built to your price. Which it can be, naturally. Ford Mustang now right-hand drive. Those toggle switches aren't actually switches in any way, they're buttons. They only work with one direction, not two, and they ought to be pulled up as opposed to pushed down, which feels counterintuitive. Seems Ford is fearful of clumsy drivers accidentally knocking them down since they place components of their vicinity. At least cycling from the drive modes, using said not toggle buttons, is straightforward enough, and also the dedicated exchange signal of release, the several degrees of stability control involvement is usually a nice touch. It won't get you long to find out the switchgear locations, and everything's unambiguously labeled, such as the tongue-in-cheek ground speed script around the speedometer. Ford Mustang tailored for UK tastes. Getting comfortable behind the wheel is not difficult enough, with plenty adjustment inside the seats and leader, and you think that you sit low inside the car, but this really is in part as the dashboard and bonnet line are comparatively high. Unlike inside the convertible, it is possible to specify excellent Recaro bucket seats within the Fastback coupe, with even more support compared to the standard items. Facelift in 2018. The Mustang's update in 2018 ushered in a fresh 12.0-inch instrument cluster behind the tire, which changes color when you choose various drive modes, and also a smattering more soft-touch materials inside cabin to provide a bit of premium to proceedings. A different engine start button also features, while new optional extras such as a carbon pack, instrument panel surround and knob from the black woven material, plus Alcantara door cards and seat inserts, air conditioning for leather seats and heating with the steering wheel. Comfort. Long journeys can be devoured in comfort. Lack of rear seat room is often a weakness. Or I'll experience better with all the V8. Since its American market debut in 2014, Ford improved comfortableness levels with the Mustang Fastback before European sales commenced the year after. Key on the changes became a suite of tweaks to your suspension create, inside a bid to reduce body roll and firm the damping. It's worked with a degree, however the Ford still feels softer and comfier than its Germanic opposition. Deeper ruts still catch out a corner axle, the wheels crashing over potholes, but overall it rides well. We do not have hesitation in undertaking a prolonged journey in a single. It's quiet too, which isn't something every would-be Mustang Fastback buyer wishes to watch. The V8 cruises having a subdued rumble, only roaring if your revs rise closer on the red line. By contrast, the sound in the EcoBoost isn't especially pleasing in any respect. Whether you stick together with the standard seats, add the optional climate-controlled items or splash out around the sporty Recaro buckets, each one is perfectly comfortable using a good variety of adjustment. It's the Recaros that offered probably the most support when driving quickly, needless to say. Those within the back are going to be less enthused because of the Mustang Fastback. Its sloping roofline robs those inside the back of meaningful headroom, and there's precious little space for lower limbs behind a taller driver. Think of it more of any 2+2 when compared to a genuine four-seater, much like the competition. Post-facelift 2018 Ford Mustang. The biggest change for 2018 may be the magnetic suspension you may now order. That's able to make the Mustang a lot more comfortable than before, because bumps inside the road tend to be more successfully absorbed, as well as the body is saved in better check when driven quickly. It's not soft, though. The Mustang continues to be an unashamed performance vehicle. Equipment. Just one standard volume of trim. but it really is well stocked with kit. Consider the custom pack bundle. Ford's famed for having complex ranges and multitudes of trim levels, but not together with the Mustang Fastback. The engine you decide on effectively could be the trim level. Standard Ford Mustang Fastback equipment. As standard, each 3-liter EcoBoost Mustang is included with black, 19-inch 5 bespoke alloy wheels, selectable driving modes, automatic xenon headlamps, automatic wipers, electrically folding door mirrors with Mustang logo puddle lights, 3.8-inch color touch screen for multimedia system, DAB radio, dual zone climate control, move around 5.0-liter V8, and also the differences at night engine change are scanned. Uprated braking mechanism, line lock, launch control, 19-inch multi-spoke alloy wheels, a specific GT grille with vertical bars towards its outer edges. Following the facelift in 2018, buyers could expect 12-inch digital instrument cluster, LED headlights, adaptive cruise control, active lane keeping assist, 2 extra drive modes, drag and my mode, redesigned bonnet and front bumper, extra soft touch materials inside the cabin, Ford Mustang Bullet Special Edition equipment. Just 350 examples in the Mustang Bullet were allocated for the UK from September 2018, with all the following features on the GT: Highland green or shadow black paint, debadged exterior, additional chrome bodywork detailing, 19-inch gloss black alloy wheels with red brake calipers, Recaro front seats, keyboard knob, dark green interior stitching details. Ford Mustang Fastback, optional extras. There's not an enormous choice of options with the Mustang to personalize it in your tastes, but keeping it simple can be a sensible strategy to go anyway. On top, in the standard paint use, you'll be able to choose metallic and Ford's exclusive colors, plus you may also possess a choice of 2 other colors for that leather in addition on the standard black. Nose to tail body stripes, a contrast black roof panel and different alloy wheel designs can be found. Climate-controlled seats are a choice, as would be the upgraded Shaker Pro speakers with Sync 3. We'd particularly recommend going to the custom pack bundle, which comprises on the Shaker Pro kit, climate-controlled seats, rear parking sensors and chrome highlights for that side windows. Post-facelift cars can be found with magnetic adaptive suspension called Magneride and 3 new body colors. Safety. Poor crash test score from Euro NCAP. Lack of crash prevention kit flaw. Pair of ISOFIX child seat mounts in rear. In an occasion when most new cars receive 4 and 5-star ratings from Euro NCAP, the 2-star score to the Ford Mustang Fastback raises serious questions about your vehicle's safety. Indeed, the scores for child occupancy were worryingly low. Ford has indicated that orders placed from May 2017 will get an upgraded package of safety features once the cars are delivered later inside the year. These measures include pedestrian detection and forward collision warnings, autonomous emergency braking along with a lane keeping aid. This is on top with the Al-Wachi standard airbags, electronic stability systems and powerful braking setup. How the revised car stacks up will hopefully function as the subject of the second round of Euro NCAP in the end. On the facelift in 2018, Ford introduced adaptive cruise control to supplement the above-mentioned additions. How many ISOFIX points does the Ford Mustang Fastback have? Assuming you are able to contort yourself ordinary manner regarding installed child seats to the sculpted-out set of 2 berths from the back on the Mustang, you'll discover an ISOFIX mounting point on either side with the car is outfitted as standard. Interior and boot space. it's clear from your outset that practicality wasn't on the forefront in the Ford Mustang Fastback designers' minds when the auto was in conception. Not a huge surprise, it's, of course, a muscle car, not much of a family hack. So, expect the back seats for being out of bounds for everyone but agile, young children, such will be the lack of head and legroom back there. There's ample space for storing up front, though, which has a generous lidded cubby inside rear on the transmission tunnel and door bins for virtually every odds and sods. Regrettably, the space on the front on the transmission tunnel, under the toggle buttons, isn't quite big enough to successfully accept a typical smartphone. Being an American car, the couple of cup holders behind kid lever are going to be more than big enough with the largest of drive-through buckets. Although you can definitely find the nose in the Mustang peeking from parking spaces, it's the Ford's width that produces more problems in Britain. Most parking bays are barely wider than the auto, and with simply a single long door on either side from the car they want a decent amount of space to start. If you ought to carry luggage with any regularity, then unless they're particularly tall items, the Fastback copes well due to its 408-litre boot space.